We are back with Kathy Alsegaf. She is a global internal sustainability leader for Deloitte. Thank you. Thank you very much for joining us, Kathy.
Thank you.
Hi.
Great to be here.
So your responsibilities include oversight and advancement of internal environmental sustainability objectives. So tell me what, Deloitte is a big services company. So what does that mean in the context of your organization?
Well, within Deloitte, obviously we're large, as you said.
Yeah.
We're 260,000 people spread across 150 countries and territories.
Wow.
So a lot of what we do from a sustainability point of view starts with our member firms. And so we have some really marvelous initiatives there. Some of our as we go into new real estate, we're bringing sustainability into those. Some of our most recent new buildings, the Edge in the Netherlands was labeled the most sustainable
awesome building
in the world.
God. Yeah. And it's a smart building too.
And Belgium has just put up the Gateway, which is also kind of equally fabulous. And then obviously within the member firms, that's also where we deliver services. That's not my area, but we're joined at the hip and we do some really interesting stuff there. We just evaluated what for the Great Barrier Reef, how much was that worth in terms of economic and social value, and it turned out to be more than 40 billion. So that's kind of really interesting work that we do. That's it brings our strengths, our complexity.
Like together. Economic development?
Yeah, it was
billion?
looked at economic, it looked at tourism, it looked at jobs.
Wow.
So that's on the client side. And then on the internal sustainability at the global level, I work on what are the things, if we have a member firm that has a good practice, how do I spread that to others?
That's great, okay.
And then I work on some of the things that are happening globally. So right now, one of the things I'm focused on is the Task Force on Climate Change Financial Disclosures.
Yes.
The TCFD. And I'm starting to work on that. What I find really interesting about that, obviously I think there's value in, what's the financial impact of all this. But in addition to that, it's the conversations. I mean, we saw it when reporting first started, right? It's bringing those people to the table to have the really interesting conversations with the CFO, with the chief risk people, who have not really, we sometimes live in our own little echo chamber, right? And so, we're all here. That's one of the things I like about GreenBiz and these types of meetings. They kind of inoculate me and give me more energy to keep going. But we also have to recognize we're in our own little world. So having those conversations through efforts like the TCFD, I'm also, like many people, working more focused on supply chains right now.
The BlackRock letter, right? We heard all about this letter that came out talking about companies needing to be more social, to think about the social good. Has that impacted your client? Is that really started a conversation, a different sort of conversation?
I think it's a little bit early to tell, but I was talking about that in another lunch meeting today because it goes back to the golden rule of, he or she who has the gold makes the rules. And so they asked me what I'm most excited about in 2018. And that's really what I'm most excited, that those conversations, again, we're getting them out of the echo chamber. We're getting them into the people that are making the rules. And I think that's very, very exciting.
So how does your team go about sharing those best practices? Like you mentioned that your goal is to see things within the clients and then to help other clients embrace the same ideas. How do you do that?
Well, the leading practices I was talking about was our internal effort. So if our Deloitte French firm has a good practice, I'll share that. But obviously within clients, we have a very large practice, and we share through, we have a network, a global network that connects on an annual basis in person, but then all the time connects. And thoughtware, like last year we put out, or I think the year before, some really interesting thoughtware around food waste.
Sure.
And then we can spread that. And then beyond just Deloitte, I think the other thing that's happening in the industry that's so important is what are the collaborations that we need? What can we only achieve by working together that individually none of us could do, but collectively will benefit from. So you'll see Deloitte at the table on many of the standard setting things, particularly as it relates to our core business, which traditionally has been assurance, right? Like, as Fink and others start putting more emphasis on tell me your story around sustainability, how do we know that the story they're telling and the story that they're being valued on is a true story? So the assurance services we bring to that, and our participation in other roundtables. What can we do as a professional services industry around travel? Because that's obviously a big component.
Well, I hope you get a lot out of your experience here at GreenBiz.
Thank you
for joining us here on the sidebar today. We really appreciate it.
Yep.
Thanks so much, Kathy.
Yep.
Thank you.
Cool.
And we're
fun.
wrapping up on the virtual program
Yeah,
today.
we're wrapping up, but Heather and I are just going to chat a little bit about what we thought today.
Yeah.
So hang in here for a second. So what were your highlights?
You get to listen to us.
Oh, you can.
So
if you want.
I love, there for me a couple things. One is you can't see angels unless you dream about them.
Yes,
And
that was such a good quote.
I get so excited about companies that are trying and that think and that are being creative, and maybe it's not going to work, but you've dreamed about it and you've tried to make it work, and then you're going to have a new angel that you focus on. So I strongly believe that every effort that a corporation makes in whether it's trying to think about project drawdown and can we use this, what does this mean for our organization, how do we take this stuff out of the atmosphere, how do we turn that into a business opportunity, every single idea is a good one, even if it doesn't work. So for me, that I always feel that inspiration from this audience.
Yeah, I would agree. So I think it's an interesting thing because so I'm the Verge program director, and we're talking about how you need to interact with people outside of your echo chamber. Here, that sense of community where it technically is an echo chamber in terms of the actual echo chamber, literally. But there's an energy that's necessary in this group that you can feel if you're here in person, and specifically, there's a lot of energy around diversity and inclusion. Yeah. This is a very hot topic right now, especially in corporations, which I find incredibly encouraging. I know in the tech sector, we're also seeing this, a lot of announcements around, more black coders and women and all that stuff. But at the C level, there's still a lot of action. So that's kind of cool. And then I really loved that quote from Catherine at the end with drawdown, because it specifically talks to the fact that once you've seeded the idea that there are solutions out there, then you can't really unsee that on some level when you're actually thinking about your own strategies and stuff like that. So the real takeaway here is, we were 98% diversion of waste last year at this event, and we know we could do better. So 100% is possible. Zero waste is possible at a lot of different events. There are a lot of other things where we're basically saying it's doable, so let's just do it.
And let's talk about it.
Yeah, that was kind of a weird diversion. But what I meant is that we are all about solutions here at GreenBiz. And so stay tuned for the next couple of days, because we are extremely solutions oriented in terms of framing challenges that I think the corporate sustainability world is really thinking about, what's around the corner, and then helping everyone start to engage with actual solutions, because there's so many business opportunities that have clear value propositions. So that wraps it. Unless you have any parting comments.
See you tomorrow.
So see you tomorrow, 9:50 a.m. Mountain Time. And if you signed up for the virtual live stream, you'll get a copy of the archive at the end of this event. So hopefully we'll see you tomorrow and the next day. That's a wrap.